Welcome back. 7.38 actually got released a few hours ago, and as usual what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a coffee and we're gonna go through the biggest changes. I thought the biggest change actually in this game is actually how the map changed. Okay, so from the very beginning, let's say 1 minute before the game starts until like 4 or 5 minutes in, I really want to break down some things about the game. Okay,
Down side to side like a roller coaster.
so the biggest change before the 0 minute mark is actually where the rune spawns. Now, if you see, let's say I'm die, right? It's so hard to actually penetrate this bounty. So there is a new location on the bounty and it's pretty well protected, okay? So the first thing that you want to do, and this is what usually the high rank players here we do, is we get to smoke and probably you're gonna place like a ward here, okay? Just to see what's going on, because there is not really high ground like there was in the bot lane, for example, here, to see what's going on. So definitely you want to like place a ward here, and the equal to that is walk, where it is, work somewhere here, capture both of these, and the equivalent of the bot is like go place an observer here or an observer here with a smoke, and it should be fine. Now the game starts, and this is where the tricky part is, okay? We have the add up of new water. So what does this new water does is, in reality, you get to go walk faster. If you see my movement speed, when I go, with the flow of it, but I don't get any movement speed. This can be pretty nice, For example, you can just run a little bit fast here, and maybe, for example, just a simple, that's funny, that jump a little bit here and just escape, okay? So definitely river is really important, but I feel like early in the game, it's not as important as people claim to be, right? It can be nice for farming in the mid game, can be nice to escape, but in the beginning, you don't really want to play in the river. Why? Because there is nothing important. I'm too deep into the jungle, so the first 2, 3, 4 minutes in are not really that important. Now, when it comes to the side lanes, there is not really big difference. There is one main thing though. If you see here, it used to be way weird if you were to be a dire support. There were some rocks or some diamonds, but now it's so much smoother. And this was one of the biggest reasons, that Radiant had a bigger win rate, because it was so hard to play dire support as a position 5. And if you see like in the bot lane also, right? Do you see how smooth it is, right? Now, does it mean that you should place an observer? Yes, okay. If you're playing a support, having an observer just like this is pretty nice, okay? Because I can get to see the lane and I can get to see behind here. If you see, if I place a sentry here, okay, there is not much gap for me if I place an observer to hide it, right? It's so narrow right now, it's so small that you can't really hide any observers. Moving on, number 3. Until what stage do you play the laning stage? What I'm really fascinated about is that I feel like it's so easy to do words right now. If you go here and if you go here, okay? Do you see how this sentry actually unblocks all the camp? Yes. So it's so easy to unblock the camp and all of a sudden pull. Okay, so keep that in mind. Pulling is the most important thing right now as a support, and you really need to have enough sentries to prioritize dewarding the camp and pulling, especially as a position 4. Number 4 is that, and I really like that, is that in the changes, this is what we call a wisdom rune, okay? I don't know if it's called rune right now, but in reality, I just need to capture it, okay? So if someone else is in here, I can't really capture it. If you've played Overthrow 3.0, then you'll understand what I'm talking about, okay? The same thing happens when you're gonna take the Lotus here, but let's start with the Lotus. Do you see that? Oh, I can take it, I get out. I can take it, I get out. So if anyone else is nearby, I can't really contest it, okay? So maybe if you're playing a support, or especially if you're playing a core, you need to help your lane partner, you need to help your support to actually take the Lotus. Why? Because he can get bullied, and if I have to stay, I think it's like 3 seconds, but maybe I'm wrong on that. But if I have to stay that long to take the rune, maybe 3 seconds is too long, probably like 1 or 1.5. But if I have to stay that long, take the rune, then I might die, because anyone can just go in. Anyone can just go in. This jump is hilarious, by the way. Anyone can just go in, and I can't really contest it. Let's say I'm some kind of clockwork. I'm gonna bully the other support. I'm gonna go really hard on him. But other than that, the same thing will happen to the wisdom shrine. I can't even say how to pronounce it, okay? So what you want to do here is you want to place like an observer here, okay? Because someone's going to come with the smoke. So you want to see rotations here. You want to take this new watcher. I think it's pretty cool. Okay. And you're going to like stand here and you're going to protect it because someone might come with smokes and stuff, right? But you always need to be in a position to think that, okay, if the guy is still here inside waiting, I need to fight for it. There is no other way around it. Okay. So keep that in mind that, for example, if you're some kind of Bane and the other enemy is actually inside the pit, then we have big problems. Okay. Now I want to talk a little bit about the river. Okay. Because the mid river doesn't really give you any movement speed, and I'm really having some thoughts here. And from my experience so far, here's like the downside. This river doesn't really give you movement speed. And let's say if I'm a mid laner, I'm Radiant mid laner, right? I'm Radiant mid laner. Then this move might make sense to go on the nighttime. Okay, if it's on the nighttime, then you can go walk there, okay, and appear from behind, okay. Because it's pretty likely that something like this, an observer here, is going to be pretty common, right? And this is what I advise already all my students, okay? You know that the enemy mid laner is going to come on you on the safe lane. Why on the safe lane, right? Because the river allows the enemy mid laner with the flow, right, to come really fast. But we know also that the mid laner won't really come this way because, do you see, it's so easy to spot. So he's going to come this way. As a result, please have an observer just like this, around 5 minutes in. The mid laner might come 5 minutes in, 6 minutes in, but he's going to come. So summing up so far, you want to place an observer just like this over here, for example, to get the enemy wisdom and fight there. Or like if you want to go to the bot lane, right, you want to like place it somewhere here, okay, with the smoke, of course, because going high ground can be intimidating. Number two, the mid lane hasn't really changed that much. But I want to say something. It's really easy to find an observer, one here and one here. There is not much else to actually place an observer, right? So it's pretty easy if you're a mid laner to actually change, to actually find the observer, okay? Because there are also like no high ground here. There is nothing here to deal with, right? Number three is the mid lane. The most important thing is like you can't really easily gank it, right? Let's say I have like an observer here, okay? Let's say I have an observer here. Do you see there is not for me like easy way to, I need to go from behind. I'm like borderline to go like into the tower. And if I'm like on the dire, where am I gonna come? Let's say I'm in position 4. Where am I going to come here? If he has vision, right? And all of a sudden I'm just into the tower. I need to hide here. So they really made the pathing pretty narrow. Number 4 is like if you go into the support lanes, right? If you go into the support lanes, if you go into the side lanes, it's so easy now to actually, look at this. Look at this, where's this? There you go. I actually unblock all this big camp, right? It's really fascinating. Whereas before, I needed probably 2 sentries or a little bit of scouting, right? And as a result, it's so easy to deward. So I'm thinking maybe heroes like melee heroes on the position 4 or even like in 5 might actually conquer the meta because I can get to be strong enough to actually body block the camp all the time. And most importantly, look at this. Look at this. The camps are not really that far away from the lane. I can just walk there and then I can just go back. Okay, so that's really interesting. I can get to have something like a boots clockwork or a tasker or something like that. And then I can just go body block this and just, you know, constantly go back. And I won't really be that absent from the lane. I really want to say that 5 minutes in, 6 minutes in, you really want to place an observer because the enemy mid laner, let's say I'm die, right, is going to use the flow, right? Is going to use the flow and it's going to try to gank. We know that from here, there's not really much sense to gank. So maybe like an observer, for example, here would be nice to see if someone's coming here or someone's coming from here. It's going to be pretty cool, okay? And lastly, and I think that's the most important thing, the Lotus is here, okay? Okay, probably like 1 second is enough, right? So it's the same time as before. Lastly, if you're a core river support, you need to push the lane. Coffee feels so good in the morning. You need to push the lane to actually secure the Lotus. Otherwise, there's going to be some kind of bloodbath early on. That's it for now, guys. I'm going to see you on the next video. That's going to be about new wording as support. GG Rada, and I'll see you on the next video. Hey guys, real quick, if you did like this video, make sure you subscribe, like and comment as it motivates us a lot to keep making these videos and these guides. And of course, make sure you check out our 6-month coaching program. It's almost guaranteed. That's gonna get you to the next metal, if not metals. The link is gonna be down in the descriptions. Make sure you click it and apply right now.